When PC3 here wants to send something to the internet, to a public IP, it will send that IP packet to its default gateway, which is the .1 IP address on router 2. We will now configure the same thing for router 2. If something has to go to a public IP address, for example, on the internet, we will set a default gateway for router 2 also. In Juniper terms, this is called the default route, and that is what we're going to configure now. Let us simplify the diagram so that it fits our needs, and move it over to the side here so we can have our routing terminal and configure our router 2. Right now, the configuration is covering this part here that I'm marking here. That means that we have configured G001, G003, but not G005 and the default gateway. We bring up VMware Workstation PC3 here and try to ping, for example, 192.168.13.3, which is PC4. That goes seamlessly. If we try to ping 10.56.16.80, it says destination net unreachable. And this is due to this network here on this interface not having been configured yet. So that is what we have to do. Let us bring up our configuration terminal for the router. We can start by listing the configuration as it is now. We see that in the interfaces section, we only have GE001 and GE003. So here we have to add our GE005. So our GE005 is added here. It is on the /22 network. And I see now that I made a mistake. The IP address has to be 80. 0 is quite wrong here. The interface needs to have valid IP address, and 0 is not valid as that is the network ID. So let us correct that. It has to be. There we go. Let's look at it again. G005 is on the 10.56.16.80 IP address on the /22 network. UNOS boxes are security devices, so we have to put G005 in a security zone. We see that right now we have one zone, and that is the trust zone. In the trust zone, we have two interfaces, G001 and G003. So we have to add G005. Now, as we are configuring NAT, we have to create Yet another zone on our system. What I have added here is the security zone trust in the graphic here. So we have GE03 and GE001 in the trust zone. GE001 and GE003 in the trust zone. We have added another zone now, and we are calling that zone the untrust zone. The only interface in there right now, according to our graphic, is GE005. So GE005 is what we're going to set up over here in our configuration, and that is going to be in the untrust zone. First, we have to create the untrust zone. Here we are in the untrust zone, and we will set the interface GE005 in there. We now have GE001 and GE003 in the trust zone, and we have GE005 in the untrust zone. We have opened up for GE005 to respond to ping requests. We will move into the policies configuration part. Let us see what policies we have there. And we only have the policy that says from trust zone to trust zone. This is in order to allow traffic to travel between GE003 and GE001 within the trust zone. Now we have to add the policy from trust to untrust. We are going to call our policy here Internet Access. We will also let the devices in the trust zone access any destination address. Finally, we will let any application layer application access the internet. And there we have our policy from zone trust to zone untrust. From any source address, from any destination address, from any application, then permit. From zone trust to untrust, from zone trust to untrust, i.e. from GE003 to GE005 and from GE001 to GE005. And do not forget to commit. That was fine. We should now be able to ping the .80 address. And we certainly are. But can we also ping the default gateway for router 2? That will be the .1 address. What do you think? No, that doesn't work. It takes a long time. The reason here is that router 1, this is the VMware Workstation router functionality, but it is to be regarded as a proper router, doesn't know anything about the 192.168.12 network. So the IP ping packet cannot be routed back through router 2. What we're missing here is to configure the NAT on router 2. So let's do that.